Hey there everyone, it's Nicole here today for Simon Says Stamp, and today I have got a card to share with you showcasing my very favorite stamped image from this whole season, and it's this traditional Santa face from the Swell Christmas stamp set just released from Simon Says Stamp, part of their Holiday 2016 card kit, or also available individually. I love the traditional Santa. In fact, you can see lots of the traditional Santa images on the pattern papers included in the holiday card kit. And so I'm really going to kind of take my cues from those pattern papers as to how I'm going to color him. But I decided I wanted to color him on Kraft Cardstock with colored pencils. If you've been following me this season at all, you probably have seen me color with colored pencils at least once on Kraft Cardstock. I just love it. And to make it even crazier, I went ahead and stamped this image a whole bunch of times on my Kraft Cardstock, and I'm going to color them all in. This ended up being quite the undertaking. However, I love the card. So even though this took me probably several hours to do, I'm really happy with it. And I think it's okay to do that once in a while when you know who you're going to give the card to, if it's going to someone special. In this case, this one is going to my mom because she also really loves the traditional Santas, and I know she will appreciate the card. So while this isn't a design that I would replicate or duplicate or do anything like that, it was so much fun to create, and I absolutely love it. You could totally do this at a much simpler kind of style by only stamping him once, maybe on a border or something, and adding the greeting, and not go crazy with all of these images. Now I am starting by coloring in the beard, and I just kind of went and added white, which the white colored pencil comes in the holiday card kit, which is incredible because I'm always needing more white because I use it a lot. I started with that, and then I am feathering in a couple of grays. One kind of darker gray, that 70% warm gray, and one a little bit lighter, the 50% French gray. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, that's really dark. And I don't know how you ended up getting the beards to look the way you did, that they do in the finished project. After I add in the dark, and I'm just almost like the Copic technique of feathering, but I'm kind of pulling it down. I want some of that texture to look like hair. Once I get all that done, I'm going to go back in with my white colored pencil and go over the whole thing. And it really kind of smooths it out and also lightens some of those darker areas. But you really want all of that texture, and you want that shading because it's going to make your image look so much more realistic. My youngest son was actually home the day that I did this card. He was homesick, and he was watching me color this, and he was like, "That is so good, Mom. I didn't know how you could take the gray and make it look like white." And I think that's one of those things that we sometimes forget, that you can take some kind of colors you wouldn't normally think of and pull those in, and all of a sudden the shading and the more natural look of it, more realistic look, I guess I want to say, immediately becomes clear. I'm doing the same thing for the face. You can see that I'm kind of using some peaches. I'm pulling in brown here. That's going to help really give the skin texture a more skin-like appearance. I layered couple colors here. I'm also pulling in red. I want his cheeks to be nice and rosy, of course, and then going over them with that peach colored pencil and blending it out. The lips are red. Now, the thing that makes the whole image pop, in my opinion, and if you watch me color critters, you are going to already know what I'm going to say, is the Sakura pins. I think that's how you say it. I might be saying it wrong. I'm sorry if I am. But I like the white opaque pen and the black glaze pen. And I went ahead and colored in the eye, and I did color over that little highlight in the eye while I'm doing some coloring of his hat. But that's just so that the black completely dries before I go back with my white pen and add that little dot highlight in the center of his eye, or over to the side. I guess it's more over on the side in this image. There we go. That looks much better. Go ahead and color in his mouth. I need to go back over that lip and really make that lip red. I went over the cheeks several times. I really wanted them to be really nice and rosy. And of course, with I got faster as I went along. With this first image, I was really trying things out. Once I knew what worked, I went ahead and colored them kind of assembly line style, where I did all of the white and then all of the faces and then all of the red on the hat. I covered up his little freckles on his face, the stamp part, with a white opaque pen, and again, that really helps. A really fine tip pen to go over the eyelashes and eyes so that they pop against that colored pencil, and then going over the hat with the Stardust glitter pen and a white opaque pen. The metallic gold colored pencil for the Jingle Bell, also the white for the little highlight on that, and then the Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen for that Jingle Bell on the tip of his hat. All of those little details are just going to make the Santas pop. So here you can see them all done. And like I said, probably took me an hour and a half to color all of these. It was kind of crazy, but I absolutely love it. Now I'm going to go in and fill in some of those little areas with some more stamped images from the stamp set. And I am stamping everything with white pigment ink. This is actually the Lawn Fawn white pigment ink. It's my favorite. And what I'm going to do is I'm stamping the holly and berries, and I'm going to color over them with colored pencils. I love that technique as well. And then I'm stamping like the little twinkling image. I'm going to fill in areas with that, and I'm going to leave that as is. So there's some nice little white in there as well. What ends up happening is this becomes my own custom pattern paper. I have essentially created my own design, and it's going to be the entire background of the card. However, I'm going to show you how I kind of quote unquote frame it up and add a greeting that doesn't overwhelm the design. The background here is obviously the highlight of the whole card, and I don't want to cover much of that up. Once I have everything stamped here, and I'm just trying to fill in all those little areas, I'm going to go right over the white pigment ink with my colored pencils. I love this technique. It's so easy to do. I'm using a couple shades of green for the leaves, and then I did go and do some red for the holly berries, but once I had those colored, I didn't think that the holly berries stood out so good. So what I ended up doing was taking the Joyful Stickles, also from the Holiday 2016 kit, and I'm going to go over those on my background and fill in those little dots with the stickles, and I think it makes it pop. I love it. It's just another one of those little things that really makes the background and even those little teeny tiny elements really shine. I'm going to tap on the back of my paper to flatten out any of those little dots so that they don't have any little tips on them that stick straight up. It'll help the little dots of glue flatten out a bit. I have die cut a banner from some vellum here, using one of the basic banner dies from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to stamp the greeting from the stamp set here. And then using the ultra fine antique gold embossing powder included in the holiday card kit, perfect color for holiday cards, I'm going to sprinkle that on and then heat set that. Now, I didn't think it showed up very good against my background. So what I ended up doing was die cutting another banner from some plaid pattern paper included in the holiday card kit. And I'm going to layer the vellum banner over that pattern paper banner. So I'll show you that here in a second when I get that all heat set. I missed a little spot. So there's what it looks like, and I'm afraid it's going to get lost. So I did die cut that additional banner. I've also die cut 4 frames from the Simon Says Stamp Frames die collection. It's this teeny tiny thin red frame, and I've die cut it 4 times from some of the red cardstock in the holiday card kit. In fact, I got 4 of these from 1 sheet of paper, plus all of that, the inserts from this, I can use to create something else. So there's still tons of red pattern paper, or red cardstock rather, left. I am using some liquid glue because these are just really teeny tiny frames. A glue runner's really not gonna, or a tape runner rather, is not gonna work here. but I wanted my frame to be substantial, so I'm stacking these one on top of another. I love this technique for highlighting something, and in this case I want to highlight my pattern paper. This is still going to kind of frame it up, but I don't actually have to die cut anything down. I am going to use that 5.5 by 4.25 inch background I created as is. It's going to be adhered directly to a top fold card base. I'm simply going to add this frame right over the top of it, and I'll show you how that looks here once I get it together. I'm just kind of pinching it together and making sure it's nice and secure. I even put something heavy on it while it dries for a little bit. So here's my card base. I'll go ahead and apply some adhesive, bring my background to the card base and secure it here. I was afraid my stickles might not be all the way dry, so I was being careful. Then I am going to go ahead and secure my vellum banner to my plaid paper banner, and I need to trim that down just a tiny little bit with some scissors. I think it's going to be a little too long. I'm going to be tucking that under the left side of my frame. Now I'm going to add some glue to the back of my little skinny scallop frame. I love this frame because it's really super skinny, so it's not going to take up a ton of room. And then I'm simply going to take it to the background and adhere it, lining it up so it's equal on all four sides, eyeballing it anyway. Then I'm going to attach my banner kind of down here near the bottom. Put something heavy on that while it dries. And that is going to finish up my Santa Merry Christmas card. Thanks for joining me today for this card showcasing components from the Simon Says Stamp Holiday 2016 card kit. The supplies I've used to create this card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos showcasing using colored pencils on Kraft Cardstock that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.